Okay, so they still won't let me sleep without getting out this second video. I don't know how you guys do this for a living, but they won't let me sleep, so I need to get out this second video, right? So the ripple. We're going to talk about the ripple, right? There are times as a creator, right? I'm really speaking to the creators, I'm talking to the counselors, I'm talking to the people who move needles for others, right? There's going to be times where you publish a book, where you publish a tarot deck, you counsel someone, you have like a speaking engagement or anything that you do, right? There's going to be a ripple, right? And not everything has a huge ripple. Some things have a small ripple and some things have a big ripple. But what happens is I know when I made a big ripple because usually things get wonky. Like things get wonky. Like frequencies get quiet. People start like acting weird for a little bit. And I'm just like, when I first started actually like publishing my books and like counseling people and actually clocked in and doing this stuff on purpose 24/7, when I started doing that, I didn't understand what was happening because I remember publishing my first book and it was Meet Alice and I published the book and that was the saddest day I had ever had. And I didn't understand why that happened because I was like, I'm supposed to be happy. I just did something that I never did, that nobody that I know in my bloodline has done. Why am I so sad? Why am I crying? Why am I hurt? Why am I and it bothered me. It bothered me for a while. I got over it. I didn't really think too much of it. I'm telling you, I don't clear all the time. I didn't think too much of it. Then I published something else and I published a deck and I published a deck and nothing happened. It was still the same old normal day. It was like a normal day. It was cool, and then I was just like, okay. And then I published a different deck and shit started getting wonky. And I was just like, what is happening? So you know me, I find patterns and I make protocols. So I call it the ripple effect. So what happens to me, I don't know if this happens to you. Hopefully it won't happen now because I kind of cleared the stuff around it. But what would happen is I would do something important. Like today, I published the second volume of the Dimensional Staircase, right? I published that. And the minute I published it, the minute I clicked that button, I was just like, okay, we know this game. And I knew now that I'm so in tune with how my body feels and how the energy moves and all that other stuff, I realized that anytime I publish something of importance that is important, there's a ripple. There's a heavy ripple. And sometimes the ripple, it's hard to explain. When it goes out to the rest of you, it's not always what the construct wants done. So it's kind of like that saying that where people are like, when you work for the devil, he leaves you alone because you're working for him. So he's not going to, you know, bother the people who are working for him. But who will get attacked is the people who are trying to bring light to the world. So I'm saying this to you. Yeah, you. I'm saying this to you. The reason why things get wonky sometimes is because you're doing the right thing. I hated when people told me that shit because One, as a young kid, when I was told that, it made me not want to do the right thing. It made me go, well, damn, if I do the wrong thing and nothing happens and I have fun, why the fuck am I going to do the right thing and then be ostracized and be belittled and shit? I didn't understand that until I got older because I realized doing the right thing is the right thing to do. It's who I want to be. I don't want to be someone who doesn't published because she's scared that, she's not going to have a good day. You understand? Or that she's going to feel sad for some weird reason, or the construct is going to buck in some certain way. I can't be afraid of that. It's like if I'm going to be in this and I'm going to do this, I have to know that, hey, sometimes this shit is going to get dicey. You understand? It's going to get dicey. It's not all love and light. It's going to get dicey. It's going to get dicey where you're in your head and you're just like, I don't understand what is happening. Why am I so sad? Why am I so worried? Why am I so frustrated? And it happens because sometimes it's not coming from you. What what happens? What I feel happens is, and let's just call it Bob. Okay, I call the construct Bob. This game that we're in, I named it Bob, right? So what happens is Bob is watching you and he's like, damn, she published the book. I was trying, because I've been trying to publish that book for a while now, and it was funny because the first volume that I published, I had to edit it because there was something wrong in it. So I had to edit it. So I had taken down that first book like 3 times because something was always wrong with it. And I was just like, okay, what is happening? So I was like, all right, maybe they want me to publish both books at the same time so both volumes are out, right? You can get it off Amazon. Both are out. So I kept trying to work on the second book, but things kept coming up. Different things started happening, and it kept blocking it. And I had asked my spirits, I muscle tested one day, and I was just like, is the construct blocking this? And they were like, yes. And I was like, oh, so that means that this book is important. Because if what you're doing is not important and not going to cause a ripple or a big enough ripple to change people's lives, they don't fuck with you. They don't expose themselves for lightweight stuff. You understand? So it's like I publish decks that are just like fun decks. That's just like, oh, like would you rather of those fun decks that I published. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Like went about my day, hung out with my friends, went to the beach. So nothing happened. But when I published the Dimensional Staircase, it got a little dicey. It got a little dicey. My normal feeling wasn't there, and it made me kind of start going, oh shit, what's happening? But then, like I told you in the other video, same dress, other video, I started to talk to it. And I said, okay, is this happening because? And I started muscle testing. Is this happening because? And then you just run down whatever comes in your head. And I asked them, is this happening because I published the book? And they're like, yes. And I was just like, oh, so they're I was married to somebody once that every time something good happened, I always felt like I was punished by them doing something wrong to make me sad. You understand? Because if you can make the person sad when things go well, their body is not going to register that as something good. Do you understand? Like, I'm going to say it again. If you do something that you should be happy and proud of, but something or someone makes you feel like shit or makes you sad before you're happy about it, or even ever get to be happy about it, they got you. Because what happens is your body will like store it as, no, I can't keep doing this because I'm putting my body in danger. I'm putting myself in danger. And I remember I told you the body is designed to heal itself and protect itself. That's its only job. It's here to move you through this game by protecting you and healing you. So what happens is when you sit there and you're upset and you just published a really profound book, you're sitting there like, I shouldn't publish anymore. You know what? I'm not going to publish. And that's what happens. And you start going down that rabbit hole, right? When that happens, remember the contingency plan that I told you to put in place. When you start hearing shit like that, you pause, you ask where it's coming from. If it's coming from you, you need to find out which version of you in your life is talking. Who's talking? Because obviously, if you're like, damn, yeah, you're right, it's not you talking. You understand? You're hearing a ghost, you're hearing an echo, you're hearing a loop play in your head. And the construct, Bob uses that to trap you. And it keeps you in a loop. It keeps you in a trap. I hope this makes sense. Because if you can get it, you can move faster. Because I did. Once I learned, because at one point I was like, man, this was years ago. This was probably in 2016. It's either 2016 or 2017. Probably 2016. I put Killing New York down so many times. I put this business thing down so many times. I was like, yeah, this is not going to happen, and every time when I got like an order or something huge, I would get punished. So what would happen is I would just be like, you know what, I'm not doing this. And I would put it down and would put it down and would put it down until I got strong enough to be like, no matter what happens with this shit, we will never drop her again. We will never put it down again. We will never stop. Even if we have to do one thing every day to show that I'm in it. Even if it's the smallest shit. You understand? Just acknowledging it. I'm not going to put it down. That's what changed. And then I started to learn how to talk to the different versions of me. And that changed the whole game for me. My alarm went off. It changed the game for me. So I want you to understand that you are meant to do big things. You are meant to publish books. You are meant to, if you're watching me, you're meant to do these things. You're meant to publish the books. You're meant to mentor people. Don't let the blowback or the ripple that you send out, that shockwave that comes back. Remember Shockwave from Transformers? When Shockwave comes back and it hits you, just be like, this is what I do, which is cheesy as hell, so just bear with me. What I do is I go, damn, I guess that's an important book. Anytime when, like today, because today I got real tired after a while, and I was just like, after I published it, I was like, I am really tired right now. Like I keep telling you, I'm trying to take a nap, but they won't let me take a nap, So I'm like, I sat here and I was just like, this must be a really important book. For me to be going through this now, this has to be a really important book. So I'm like, okay, that's how I know it's important. All right. I know this helped. I'm sorry. I'm really not 100%. I need to get some sleep. Hopefully they'll let me sleep. If you see this dress again, they didn't let me sleep. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Deuces, and I'm out.